This is 5 of the stupidest things I said before having a kid that I wish I could go back and just smack my past self in the face for ever being such an idiot. um, they will just eat whatever we're eating. They're not having potato smileys. You can still do the things you normally do. You just take the baby with you. My kid will never watch Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol. That's ridiculous that a kid that age still has a dummy. That mum was bribing her kid to put on his shoes with a chocolate biscuit. I would never do that. There is no one smugger than an expectant parent. You have the best intentions. You start to notice parents with babies and children everywhere. You watch them wrestling screaming toddlers into prams or carrying them out of parks, kicking and screaming for ice cream. Parents whipping out chocolate biscuits or iPads at restaurants. And you think, that would never be me. My kid won't be like that. You think how you would manage that situation. I would calmly offer the carrot sticks and the homicide pact. And if they still wanted ice cream, I would explain calmly and give them a hug. Just what absolute bloody nonsense. If I could go back in time, like I said, I would slap myself in the face for being such a complete idiot. And I would also apologise to all those parents I silently judged, thinking I could do it better. I guess it's a method of self-preservation. You would panic if you saw what was coming your way. So yeah, those are the 5 stupidest things I said out loud to other people before I'd kids myself. So they will just eat whatever we're eating. They're not going to be one of these kids that just eats beige frozen food. I had images that my kid would be the one in a restaurant tucking into some salmon with fresh lemon and baby potatoes. And I tried really hard with weaning. I gave James all sorts of different flavours. I didn't just give him baby-esque foods. And for the first year or so of his life, he did eat really well. He'd have his Moroccan couscous or whatever. And then when he was closer to 2, we hit like the food refusal stage. So I was back at work and we needed a quick dinner sometimes, or me and Jack were eating really late, or we were going to be having something really spicy. Frozen potato waffles, chicken dippers, fish fingers, things that could be chucked in the air fryer and be ready in 10 minutes became more and more part of James's diet. And I'm not saying this is bad food, but James definitely got a taste for these sort of blander foods. And we now have the standard 3-year-old battles about trying new things, eating any vegetable that isn't broccoli, which is weirdly the only vegetable he consistently likes. And he definitely doesn't eat the salmon when we go out to eat, to be fair, thank God, because we couldn't afford it. But yeah, that is 100% a stupid thing that I said. It did not turn out to be true at all. You can still do the things you normally do, you just take the kids with you. I said this, I thought it was true. To some extent it is true. You can take the kids with you. The only problem is you won't have a good time. You want to hike up a mountain, it won't be fun when they're having a meltdown in your backpack halfway up. You could take them to a beach club in Ibiza. I've seen people do that on Instagram, but you'll still be sat in the sand with a bucket and spade and trying to work out where they can have a nap that's quiet. The other problem is that your idea of fun changes. You end up wanting to do the things your child will like the park that has a train you can ride on. Your priority becomes them instead of you. Even simple things like going to a friend's house for dinner. They want to eat at 7, but your kid will be fractious and needing bed by 8, or you go out to eat in a restaurant and you have to spend the entire time just wandering about the tables with your toddler because they won't sit still. So yeah, this is why 90% of parents are to be found in safe spaces like parks or soft plays where everyone's on the same level, and you don't have to worry about annoying anyone if all your toddler wants to do is run around. My kid will never watch Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol. It's a slippery slope. We started with a little bit of Miss Rachel, justifying that it was educational. Then it was Cocomelon for long car journeys. And then YouTube suggested some nonsense that James saw and wanted. I think it was Bebe Finn, which is just awful. And I thought nothing could be worse than that. I tried to encourage things like Puffin Rock or Bluey, but it wasn't any good. And I woke up one morning and I just realised that I knew Rubble and Chase and Sky and all their catchphrases. James is sat in his Paw Patrol pyjamas with Marshall on them right now. So yeah, there you go. That's ridiculous that a kid that age still has a dummy. In the last 2 months, James has finally given up the dummy, and he's coming up to 3.5. We initially gave it as it's protective against SIDS, but then it was really difficult to get rid of. It was the only way he would settle if he couldn't have boob, so we needed it in the pram or the car seat or when he was just Jack. And with him being a terrible sleeper, we just couldn't face getting rid of it and making everything worse. By the time he was 2, I was pregnant again, and I did not have the strength for a week or 2 of a really big fight. And he asked for it all the time. He would have it constantly in his mouth, apart from when he was at nursery or preschool. By 3, we really wanted to get rid of it because he had it stuck in it all the time. And I've said before that we were worried at one point about James having a bit of a speech delay, and we were sure that the dummy wasn't helping because it was difficult to hear him when he would talk, but we'd have the dummy stuck in his mouth. We tried the dummy fairy. We tried offering a present if he could give it up for a week. And we were just about stealing ourselves for a proper attempt because we got a telling off from James's preschool teacher who had seen it in his mouth on the way to school. I'd forgotten to take it out of his mouth on the walk into school. But then out of the blue, he just didn't ask for it one whole afternoon after nursery. And that night he asked for it and we gave it. But the next morning we took it off him again and he wasn't bothered. And then when he asked for it again that night, we just distracted him and it worked. And yeah, there was no big arguments, no tears. He just, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, by some miracle, he's finally given it up. So yeah, so my kid was definitely one of those who had the dummy the longest. And yeah, there you go. That mum was bribing her kid to put on his shoes with a chocolate biscuit. I would never do that. I have done this more times than I can count. When you have asked 36 times, threatened, tried to grab them and wrestle them on physically, and you're going to be late and you need to get out the door, then you do what you need to do. Would never judge someone for this now. It just shows you what a smarmy git out. And I thought I knew better before kids. I really didn't. That's pretty much all the parenting I do. It's either threats or bribery now with James. Yeah. I mean, if anyone's got any good tips for getting 3-year-olds to do things like get their shoes on. I don't know what it is about shoes, honestly. But then, yeah, please, I would love to hear it. So yeah, just a little short and sweet episode. But what ridiculous thing did you say that ended up being 100% not true? Or what ridiculous thing did you say that you immediately realised was nonsense once you had a kid? I'd love to hear it. I hope this maybe makes you feel a bit better about any stuff. I'm obviously not saying that screen time, Paw Patrol, chicken nuggets, any of that is a bad thing. It's more just the sort of idea that I had in my head about this sort of perfect organic earth mother that I would be, that just ended up 100% being the complete opposite. So yeah. So let me know in the comments if you've got anything that you would add. And if you don't already, then please follow 10,000 Steps with Baby on Instagram. And I will see you again next week.